Hello, I'm Britton Clennett and welcome to China Insight, where we discuss the latest issues affecting this rapidly changing country. Well, a cultural exchange program invites young adults from all around the world to travel to China and produce a documentary. It's called Looking China and has been running since 2011. But what are these kinds of programs trying to achieve? And are they an effective way of exporting Chinese culture to the globe? Joining me today is Luo Jun, Vice President of the Academy of International Communication of Chinese Culture. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having us.
I'd just like to ask you, what is Looking China? Could you start explaining what that is?
Looking China is a cultural experience program. We invite young filmmakers to come to China and live with their Chinese counterparts, and to find their own story and to shoot that story and do the post-production together with their Chinese partners. And then they bring that film back home and spread it.
So they're in China and they're given a subsidy. Is the trip subsidized?
Yeah, it's a fully sponsored program. Mm-hmm. The sponsorship comes from Huilin Cultural Foundation. Mm-hmm. Huilin is the Dean of International Communication of Chinese Culture, mm-hmm. Beijing Normal University. Professor Huang Huilin is the founder of this Looking China project, and also she's the Dean of this academy.
Okay, so they're sponsored, they come on a trip to China, they get to shoot whatever they like. Is there a topic each year that they can choose?
Every year we have a big theme. Mm-hmm. For example, this year it's charm, mm-hmm. ethnicity, and culture. Mm-hmm. And last year it's individual, family, and culture. So each year we try to develop and design a theme so they can answer the brief and they can develop their proposal. And we choose them by the proposal and by the resume. So they're selected based on their ideas, based on their proposal, not on their individual, say, CVs? Yeah, we want them to do some research before they come.
So we went to Kangding and followed some of these Looking China candidates while they shot their documentaries. Let's take a look.
My name is Amrit. I'm 23 years old and I'm from Singapore. I'm a graduate from Nanyang Technological University.
Okay, hi, I'm Eunice. I'm 23 this year. I'm a recent graduate of the Nanyang Technological University from Singapore, and I studied communications.
We're up in a mountain range in the far west of Sichuan province, more than 4,000 metres above sea level. Stunning views aren't in short supply in this part of the nation, but it's not the scenery that's brought us here. Rather, it's a small group of foreigners and their viewpoints who have come here as part of a program called Looking China. Worlds away from the big cities like Beijing and Shanghai, they're here to document and explore this culturally and geographically diverse part of the nation. This is Kangding, a little town in Sichuan province with a long history. Emrit is one of 6 Singaporean students who have come here as part of the Looking China program, an initiative that brings young foreigners to China to make short documentaries on a topic of their choice. Emrit and her teacher, Lao Juni, are scouting for leads. The 23-year-old student is interested in something called yak butter tea, a famous drink popular in these parts.
你好, where can I find ingredients for suyo cha?
请问哪里可以买酥油茶的那个材料？酥油是吧？啊，对，酥油茶的。酥油汁儿也有吗？酥油茶，酥油他说。酥油茶的材料。酥油茶的所有原料。这边。哦，然后来，我去应该晓得吧？通超市场。
The market.
这儿调过去，这儿一个门那种，出去就是那儿又是虫草市场，又是步行街。
What he sells. Does he drink suyo cha? Does he drink suyo cha? Hello, 你好。好，你好。
你好。
你有suyo cha吗？你喝suyo cha？
他问你喝不喝酥油茶？
喝啊。
喝。
有喝的。
Is he drunk? Is he hot?
Han.
Han. So Han also drink. They also drink
because he live here.
酥油茶好喝的吗？
好。
很好。
Eunice is an aspiring documentary filmmaker. She's 23 years old, Singaporean, and today she and her crew of Sichuanese university students are looking for love. Or more specifically, they're looking for the origins and influence of the Kangding love song, a well-known folk ballad. A ballad about a pair of young lovers, forbidden from marrying because of their different social stations. The exact origin and writer of the Kangding love song is unclear. Some say it dates from the 1930s, others say it's much older. The tune became popular in China in the 1940s and has since become famous the world over. Eunice has chosen it as the topic of her documentary. She and her crew are hunting echoes of the ballad and its modern meaning amongst the people of Kangding.
他的情歌就是这个跑马山，这个看的情歌就是跑马山那首歌就是唱的，看的溜溜好哟，晓不？就是跑马山往下的，晓不？溜溜成了嘛？
溜溜就是个走的意思，是吧？
哦，走的意思，晓不？哦。像我就是希望在那边去旅游。
那溜溜调就是边走边唱。
我边走边唱，晓不
？The song that people think about when they say Kangding love song is this folk song version, and what we wanted to do because it's like an anthem of the people here. So I thought like the best way to explain it, like its meaning, was to be through like the people on the streets themselves, not just like experts. Because when we ask some of the people on the streets, they were saying, "Oh, I'm not an expert. Don't ask me. You should find someone who, I don't know, works in an art school or someone like that." And what we told them was that no, you are exactly who we want. Like we want the typical person on the street to tell us about Kangding love song.
Emrit's search for yak butter tea has led her here, to the main street of Kangding. Her inquiries have convinced her it's more than just a traditional drink, and she's decided to make it the focus of her documentary. She believes the tea is a metaphor for harmony, both a literal and cultural blend of ingredients from the Han and Zheng ethnicities. And she's finally found someone in Kangding who remembers the old way of making the drink. This is Sharab Galathan, a local Zheng restaurateur. Emrit has convinced him to show her how this distinctive tea is made using methods passed down in his family through several generations. The key ingredients, yak butter, salt, milk and tea leaves, are mixed together in an old-style churn before going into the pot to be served up hot. The drink, which is said to give strength and ward off the bitter cold of the mountains at these high altitudes, is still a popular one here in Sichuan and Tibet. And after all her research and inquiries, Emrit is about to try it for the first time.
Not bad.
My first time.
You can get used to it.
This one?
This one, yeah.
Okay. Never. Okay, I try.
A little bit salty.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, salty.
And
Tastes like soup, a bit of.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Some people will say like that. Yeah.
Emrit, more than 1,000 years of history and culture have gone into making this cup of tea, but it's also the central ingredient in your documentary. How do you think things went today, and did you learn anything about the process?
So I've, prior to this, I've only read about the yak butter tea. So it was really interesting to watch how they do it. It seems simple. I mean, there are essentially 4 ingredients, the milk, the tea, the salt, and the yak butter. But to understand the process and to actually see how they traditionally do it, the significance of the tea in the Tibetan culture still stands, despite the changes in the method.
It's been a long few days of shooting for both the girls, and this high above sea level, exhaustion can take its toll for those unaccustomed to the extreme altitude. It's late, but Eunice is still awake, busy uploading video and pictures to her laptop. She's happy with what she's got so far, but she feels there's still something crucial missing from her documentary, something she's hoping she'll capture in the morning. Daybreak sees Eunice travel to Sandaoqiao village. A short, winding drive from Kangding, the people here are simple farmers and herders for the most part, but there's one among their number in particular that Eunice is excited to meet. So how's the filming going?
It's good. We're going to meet an expert on the old Kangding love song, so we're excited to see what he has to say.
Fantastic. Well, best of luck.
Thank you.
Up here in the mountains above Kangding, in this tiny village, Eunice is about to meet a man named Wang Zhifu, who local people say is the true cultural custodian of the Kangding love song. He sings with an ancient melody and cadence passed down in his family through generations. And, so the story goes, it's this song that's ensured his family continues for at least one more generation to come, because he used it to serenade the lady who would become his wife. Wang Zhifu is 58. He says his family has farmed this land for 17 generations, but it's the family's version of the famous song that's brought him accolades.
溜溜掉就随便，看到这个云就唱乌云，看到这个山就唱山，看到马就唱马，看到人就唱人，随便都可以唱的，多种多样唱法。我唱个云嘛。 高山的溜溜照耀子，乌尘的溜溜真耀，只见的溜溜谁也没见的溜溜人耀。
From the very old to the very new, local young people are picking up the traditional Kangding love song, making it come to life for a whole new generation. Eunice is shooting a local band, which regularly plays its own version of the song in local bars like this one. It's a modern twist on a ballad they've grown up with. While the Kangding love song has been recognised by UNESCO as one of the top 10 most culturally significant ballads in the world, for these young musicians, it's just the sound of home. And for Eunice, their performance is the last piece of the puzzle for her documentary. With only a day left, the pressure is on for the girls, and their teacher Lao Juni is helping Emirates make the most of the remaining filming time. Juni is a veteran of the Looking China program, and the Singaporean lecturer has led several teams of students to different parts of China since the initiative was launched in 2011. She says it's giving students valuable experience, and it's giving the world a look at China through their eyes.
A program like this, of course, can change perceptions. It's only limited to a certain number of people, like in this case 100 students a year, but it's a good starting point. I mean, these students in future will, grow up and they'll become leaders in their own fields and their own rights, and hopefully they'll come back as well.
Hundreds of aspiring filmmakers and their teachers from all over the world have come to China as part of the Looking China program in the past decade. Here's what some of them had to say about the experience.
I think this is a really fresh experience and different from everything I have ever done before.
The chance to meet all kinds of different people and to experience different habits.
Body language, the universal way to communicate with people no matter where you are. Facial expression, gestures, and a lot of smiles.
Personal interest, I really like to make movies, and I never shoot like a documentary thing, just one or two works. I I make fiction.
We have here for short time filming, getting to know a lot of people, new cultures, a lot of new experience, and it's been so intense, it's so amazing.
Being China and shooting a documentary, it's an honor and a pleasure. It's a unique experience that I will remember for the rest of my life.
Founded by the Dean of the Academy for International Communication for Chinese Culture, Huang Huilin, Looking China is co-organised by Beijing Normal University and the Huilin Foundation. It's provided opportunities to aspiring filmmakers from more than 20 countries around the world, and it's opening eyes to a different way of looking at China.
So we saw some clips there from students and what they thought. What do you think they get out of it?
I believe for the participants, they get a piece of memory. And I believe most of the memories are beautiful. Besides the film, that's a concrete result. They got that, live, a short amount of time. They can recall the whole life.
And of course, the cultural exchange, the cultural experience, opening up a new, a new window to a completely different culture than their own. I just want to know, we have these cultural exchanges in other places. Where I'm from in Australia, we have, similar education exchanges. What do you think? What's the purpose of these?
Okay, because Academy for International Communication of Chinese Culture is a group of scholars. So what we want to do is, I think, from three aspects. The first is this program is like an anthropological experiment. We want to invite outsiders to observe our culture with the help of the insiders. And secondly, we want to check the function of the middleman, the cultural middleman, which is mostly the bilingual intellectual. They speak both Chinese and English in this case, or we build a bilingual team with the filmmakers and their Chinese partners. So we want to check this bilingual intellectual and its function in the global cultural information flow. And thirdly, we believe there is something hidden in our culture need to be discovered and explored by foreigners so the world can know Chinese culture more. But we don't know what it is. So
what do you mean by that?
We need, for example, the morning exercise in the parks. We see it too often. We think it's natural. It's nothing. But for a foreigner, it's a unique activity, especially franchised in Chinese culture.
Because it's something they've never seen before, so they're fascinated by it.
Yes.
I say they, but I'm a foreigner in China, so I'm obviously fascinated by these things that you think are probably quite normal.
That's common sense.
So it's interesting that it's a reminder of unique, what makes China unique.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And I guess it's, it's like if you go to other countries, anything that might fascinate you might be quite normal to the locals.
Yes,
so
I agree, yes.
I think that's really interesting, serving as a reminder.
Yes, because the experiment for us is to change our angle from we tell the story to the world to we invite the world to find the story from us. So that's a change of angle.
So you can almost introspectively look back inwards and discover, rediscover things about your own culture.
Yes, the most powerful thing in our culture is self-reflection.
Yes.
So Confucius said, every time you do 3 times of self-reflection,
every time you do something, you need to self-reflect 3 times.
You think you find the internal reason, and you deal with your things from inside. But this time we invite foreigners, the filmmakers, to set up another mirror so we can see our reflection in their movies.
How much of this is about improving China's image abroad?
Based on our research, we think Chinese culture is not in the position to calculate the image. The culture needs to be known by the foreigners. It's not known. It's invisible right now.
I find invisible. I find this quite fascinating. You know, everyone I know is in some way fascinated by China and the progression. You know, it's made and the development it's made, and this you know how quickly it's changing. But it is kind of different when you're talking about its actual culture and traditions and history. So is part of what you're trying to do boost that interest in China's culture and traditions and history?
Okay, if there is a tendency to know China more, what we provide is what China is from different films, different angles.
How effective a platform like Looking China is for people-to-people diplomacy?
It's also a big question. So diplomacy is a political idea, but cultural program cannot avoid political definition. So when you say China, it's a political idea. When you say Chinese culture, geographically, it is probably different from the borders. So diplomacy is not our concern. What we concern is to enrich the cultural understanding. But speaking of people-to-people diplomacy from the perspective of communication, I think the program like Looking China provide an interaction between real people.
Yeah, and so I wonder if you're going to see more of these kinds of experiences.
The popular one is tourist. We can treat Looking China as a tourist program with the purpose of making film. But everyone will finish a 10-minute short video. That's their technical goal.
Right.
Yeah. So,
well, I know, as you know, someone in the industry as well.
Yeah.
You know, you can't just go out and shoot something. You can't just go out and be a tourist. You have to get a deeper understanding of what's going on. So I guess that's what you're talking about, the people-to-people diplomacy. You know, we saw with one of the girls in the film, when she went to the market and tried to buy the yak butter tea, and she was asking them and engaging, despite not, you know, having a full grasp on the language. You know, you can't help but have that engagement, I guess.
Yes. But maybe we just don't use that term, diplomacy. But yeah, probably the same thing.
Okay. All right. I want to talk to you a little bit more, but we're going to take a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back to China Insight. I've been discussing the goals and potential impact of China's cultural exchange programs with Luo Jun, Vice President of the Academy of International Communication of Chinese Culture. We took to the streets to ask people how they'd promote China. Let's take a look.
我觉得还是中国的美食吧，因为我觉得中国的美食毕竟还是那个，就是因为我也吃过其他，比如说东南亚呀，还有法国菜，我自己认为还是中国的美食在我心目中还是第一的。
我会向外国友人推荐咱们的中国功夫。
If I should recommend something from China, I would say go and see the Panda in Chengdu. That is absolutely marvelous to do.
介绍京剧吧。我觉得我会向外国人推荐中国的体育运动，就比如说几大球类运动，然后中国的国球、乒乓球，然后女排啊，还有一些羽毛球这些。
我觉得我应该推荐国画，因为我觉得不管是在世界的哪一个地方，各种艺术都是融会贯通的。
So you've got some ideas there, but they're probably not as nuanced as some of the Looking China ideas. What do you think?
This is a real picture of how people think of China. And everyone has his own answer. There is no one answer about China. So if we have to pick one word, that would be diversity. So you have food, you have panda, they're all good. They're all Chinese. Even the morning exercise. Tai Chi, Chinese handwriting.
So really, it really is about picking out all these, getting a range of stories out of China, I guess.
Yeah, these are all visible things. But there are a lot of Chinese value or philosophy behind that. They're also Chinese culture, but they're deeper.
Right.
For example, Xiao, it's kind of a family. In Latin, many people call that filial piety. But I believe very few people understand that word, and they don't even use it anymore.
Right.
So probably we can use the new translation coined by Professor Roger Ames, and he's now in Beijing University. And before, he was a professor in Hawaii University. And he translated the Xiao into family reverence. It's more to the concept.
Right.
Yeah. So this is also very important in Chinese culture, and it's quite unique. I'm not saying it's the only one thing in the world, but it's unique.
And you bring up the subtleties of language, right? Certain languages have words that aren't, you can't ever translate.
You cannot even think about to translate.
That's right. And therein lies the difficulty, I guess. But, as foreigners and as Chinese, it's our job to kind of dig beneath the surface and try and find something that is unique and find that gray area that people don't know about.
That's why we want to double check, we want to research the function of bilingual intellectuals. So they are the one to try to find the right word to this Chinese concept, and then to make Chinese culture more understandable worldwide.
Thank you very much for the interesting chat, Luo Jun.
Yeah, thank you for your wonderful questions.
If you have any comments or questions, please email us at chinainsight@cctv.com, or you can find us on Facebook, Weibo and WeChat. And we'll see you next time for more stories and discussion on China out of China.